Hey guys, I thought I would talk today about stress. And the reason I came up with that is because I was listening to a couple of things recently where people were talking about how stressed they were trying to run this company and that company, and they wanted to be a different size. And especially came up with somebody who's like saying that they wanted to remain small, and somebody else, a bunch of other people jumped on and said, yeah, I went to this really big company and it stressed me out so bad that I went back down to only one truck, or went back down to two trucks, or whatever the thing was. And I want to talk about what causes the stress and why that's an issue, because if we can get to the root of the stress, then it makes things a whole lot easier. So I've kind of written these things down before in a previous video, but these are like the differences between small companies and large companies. Every company, no matter what, has to run things like this, and this is not a complete list, but it's just a kind of an example list. These are the things that have to happen every day for your business to run. Someone's got to answer phones and book calls into the schedule. Somebody's got to run service calls. Somebody's got to install stuff. Somebody has to do admin stuff like basic accounting and go to the bank and collect the money and stuff. And then somebody has to do like sales and sell stuff, or else none of this happens, right? So we have to have all those things happening. When you're a small company, basically what happens is the owner just does all these jobs. He's answering his own phones. He's selling everything by himself. He's probably installing it, maybe with a little bit of helper or two, maybe another service tech. Then they grow a little bit and they start to give some of these jobs to somebody else, but they still maintain doing these jobs when you're a small company. The jobs they're usually not doing are the ones over here, and it's like marketing and hiring and training people, planning for long-term growth, things like that. Those are like business owner jobs. They're not service tech jobs where you're self-employed. This is like company owner kind of stuff. So they kind of slowly tiptoe into this realm, and maybe they're hiring, but they're not really training very much, or they're training once in a while. Maybe they're not doing much marketing. Maybe they're trying to hire a marketing company, that kind of thing. But the difference between really running a great company and not is having these skills. Most of us, when we start our company, are service techs, right? So we have these skills. This stuff's easy to figure out for us because we know how to do it. For a lot of people, doing an install would be stressful for a lot of people. But for those of us who know how to do it, not that big of a deal. We can do this. So the stress of doing these things feels comfortable, even though it's stressful, okay? Just kind of the way that it is. So when we get off into these things, these are the things that feel like uncomfortable because they're skills that a lot of owners don't have, at least when they're starting out. And if they never really get them in a really good way, then it causes a lot of anxiety and stress in your life, because you're like, I don't know how to do hiring. My marketing's not working. What do I do now? Yes, you're right. When the company grows bigger, you need more calls. You need marketing that actually works a lot better. You can't coast through slow times and stuff because you've got a dozen employees or something, that families that have to be fed and have paychecks and stuff, right? So you can't sit there and go, well, oh well. You have to be better at it. So you got to be good at these things. Here's the major thing that I think happens for most people that end up wanting to become smaller again, is they're trying to be a bigger company. They're growing into that role, but they're still holding on to doing things this way in a lot of ways. They're not letting go of some of these jobs. They're still the only person selling every job. They're still the only person answering their phones. They haven't hired an office manager or something. But the more you get rid of all these jobs to someone else doing them, the less amount of time it takes on your schedule to do it, and the less stress you have, your stress level goes down. The way you do that, by hiring and training. You hire people, you train them to do all these jobs so you never do them again, reduce your stress. If you're trying to grow into this bigger company and you're having trouble managing it, it's probably because you haven't quite yet figured out all the processes it's going to take to replace yourself in all of these things that have to happen all the time. Let's face it, you start doing 2-3 installs a day, there is no way in hell that one person that's a one-man show owner could ever do that. And if you start to get more than a couple a week, it starts to pile up on you, because you still got to run service and do admin and sell stuff in that. As soon as you get past that point, it starts to really, really, really get hard to do. And you start to get a lot of anxiety, a lot of heartburn, a lot of stress, and then you're hiring people, but you're not training them very well. You're expecting them to just jump in and do these jobs. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately. You're gonna have to find people. You can get lucky once in a while. that you'll find one guy here and there that can kind of take over and do most of what you do, but those people are few and far between. Generally speaking, you got to have a much better process for replacing yourself in all these day-to-day jobs so that the only ones you're left with are the ones that are not that hard to do. Let's face it, you can do all of these and be home by 4 o'clock every day. You really could. You could set up a training program, you could hire people, you could do some long-term planning, you could set up a marketing plan and execute it and stuff. And you don't have to do it at 3 o'clock in the morning. You just don't. You're not on call, none of that stuff. You can actually reduce your stress level a lot if you figure out how to do all the things it takes to replace all these jobs you're doing and that. So when I'm working with people, that's what we're talking about. How do we set prices? How do we become profitable? How do we be able to pay for it? How do we create marketing plans? How do we set up training programs and hiring systems so that you can get rid of all these jobs that you don't need to be doing anymore? So that's kind of the tip of the day. If you need some help, get some help. And if you have questions, go ahead, comment below. I'm happy to help you. But that is really the thing that is causing a lot of companies to go back to downsize because they're trying to reduce their stress level in their life. Frankly, I'll just tell you my answer to the question. It's way less stressful to be doing this stuff and sit on your desk than it is to be crawling through attics and crawl spaces and stuff doing this. It just is. The only reason people like this is because they're used to it. So it's a stress you like because it's a stress you're used to, but it doesn't mean it's easier. It just isn't. And frankly, it's fairly dangerous to be a really small company with only 1 or 2 people doing all these jobs. You get sick, you break your leg, you get the flu, you want to go on vacation, suddenly none of this happens. If you have 10 people, 1 person that happens to, no big deal. Again, company stress level goes way down when you're doing all of these things right to replace yourself in this area. So again, that's the tip of the day, and we'll talk soon.